Okay. Hey, everybody out there in Rumble Land, in YouTube Land, and also Laura Land. So we have Laura is it
Van
Trine?
Tyne, yep.
Van
Yes.
Tyne. Okay, with us today. And, I had your website up here. So I'm going to ask her just to explain to us who she is and what she's going to talk about. And in the meantime, I will find her website again. And Soul Tribe, right?
Soul Tribe, the website is thekarmicpath.com. Soul Tribe Navigating the Spiritual Wars, the book.
What is this website called again?
Thekarmicpath.com.
Okay, I'll bring that up while you're talking. So how are you, Laura? Hello, Janie. Janie's with us also because Janie has a connection to Laura, and I thought it was really cool to have both of them in here. And we're going to hear what Laura has to say. And if Janie wants to add any information at any time, please feel free to do so. And Laura, if you want to tell us about yourself.
Well, thank you. Thank you both, Janine and Janie. Janie, Janine, Janine. Okay.
Right?
Anyways, my name is Laura Van Tyne. I've been around for a little while, but I got my start. I used to be a middle school math and Spanish teacher. And one day, literally, hell broke through our house, and I had to figure out what to do. One of our daughters was being assaulted by these things that, my husband and I couldn't see at the time. No one else could see them, but I knew they were real. And by things, I mean, ghosts, if it was just ghosts, that would have been a good thing at this point, right? And we had all kinds of beings and entities in our home. We were under a constant assault. It was as if we lived inside of a Hollywood horror flick for about 10 years, and the credits never ended. It started out with little things, footsteps, things like that. And then all of a sudden, a knife just kind of flew off the countertop, a sharp knife flew off the countertop, nearly missed me. And it's just the unexplainable. And it wasn't as if I was dabbling in anything or doing anything like that. I'm just, I'm a middle school math and Spanish teacher. My husband's a business guy. And then we started having these ghost children come into our house, and I didn't know what to do with them. We had one ghost child named Annabelle before the horror flick came out on that one, who started living with us, and she didn't know she died. When she figured out she died, she became very angry, and she wanted me to be her mom, and she wanted my daughter out of the picture. She would literally every day when my daughter got in the shower, stab her in the back with an etheric knife. She would come out of the shower with these welt marks, 3 of them all the time in the middle of her back in an area that she couldn't self-inflict. So I had to start figuring this out. I ended up quitting my teaching job. And my husband became the sole supporter of 5 in, Southern California, which isn't necessarily easy, but we had to do this. Along the way, I realize now, looking back, that this was my training ground for what I do today. We had all kinds of dark entities coming at us. I had to figure out what to do about them, how to deal with them, how to deal with it. Ghosts. A ghost is simply a former human who left their body, and they're stuck literally between heaven and earth. And along the way, I learned that the dark side has given us many different thoughts, many different pre-programmed beliefs. Hi, sweetie. Love it.
You're muted still, Janine.
Oh.
I have to be because he had a squeaky toy. So.
Oh.
So
he loves the kind of energy that you're going to talk about. So.
You know what? The animals, when I'm working with clients, the animals always pop up into my clients' laps all the time. It's a good thing. So I started figuring this out. I'm literally calling everything short of psychic, 1-800-PSYCHICS-ARE-US to religious clergy, shamans, any spiritual practitioner. I was leaving no stone unturned to figure this out. What I mostly learned was what didn't work. So I think I would have something that would work, and I would find out it didn't work, and it would be so defeating. And so this went on for a couple of years, and I'm literally looking for help. And what I realized is there's a lot of misinformation that humans are being gifted or given by the dark side posing as the light side. Long story short, what I figured out was the Lucifer rebellion, or those Luciferic forces, when they left the light of God, they now needed an energy source. They're like, oh snap, we have no energy. We have to figure something out. So they come down to this planet and like, oh, look at these humans, look at these animals. We can utilize their God-given soul energy to benefit us, which I believe is one of the reasons why this is a warring planet. When we incarnate here, many times we don't see the unseen energies that are affecting us, that are causing us to act and react, that are mitigating our free will. My defining moment, however, was one night, our little girl, she was about 6 then, comes racing down the hallway into our room. Mommy, 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 the shadow men are in my room and they're talking and they said they're going to steal my soul to break you, mommy. And I've got her body around me like this, and I can feel her heart thumping through her body. That was the moment the dark side got too greedy. And I'm also thinking, why are they trying to steal my daughter's soul? What does that really mean? Right? And why do they want to break me? What I realized later, because hindsight is 2020, they saw my potential future and they were trying to stop it then. And they were trying to stop it many times. From that point on, for, I want to say, a couple of years, I never slept more than 2 hours a night, consecutive hours. Our daughter slept with us, or I slept in my daughter's bed. I slept with one eye open all the time because I didn't know what I didn't know. My daughter then could see all of these things, and I could sort of see and sense them, but I mean, she could see them as clear as I can see you guys. All of a sudden, then my ability started opening up, and I started to be able to remote view in the ether and in real time. And that's when I realized what the dark side wanted from us, why they were acting this way, why they were trying to literally steal my daughter's soul. And any mom out there knows we'll move mountains. We will absolutely move mountains to save our kids. Had they have been just after me, I don't know if I would have fought that hard. But what this has done is it's given me the ability, this is my training ground again, those 10 years, to do what I do today. And today, the dark side is even more prominent than it was 10 years ago. We're seeing it everywhere now. And I remember at one point, a group of angels had come into our house and they started talking to my daughter and I. And they said that humanity needs us, the angels, now more than ever. What the humans have to realize is that you have to ask the angels for help. We can't help unless we're asked, because they're not allowed to mitigate our free will. They can't come in and save the day without you asking. So the more you ask for the angels' help, the more you work with them, the bigger your spiritual team grows, the bigger your soul tribe grows. But you have to do the work. We can't just sit there and wish and hope and pray with no action. For example, I remember at one point my daughter got her driver's license. She was about 9 months late getting her driver's license because she had a concussion that lasted a year. And she wanted nothing more than to drive herself surfing at the beach in San Diego. And the night before, I'm like, you can't go. And they're like, you know, World War III is erupting in my house now at this point, right? Yes. Da, 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 da. I said, no, you're going to be into an accident and it's not going to be your fault. It's going to be a drunk driver, I tell her. Didn't care. And I realized at that moment in time, I had a tool that I needed to use, and I brought in the angels. I brought in all of these angels to be literally, I'm asking the angels to surround her car inside and out, give her the guidance, give her the wisdom, give her the clarity she needs from the moment she leaves the driveway to the moment she gets back. So she leaves the house at about 5:45, 6 a.m. to get the morning surf in. Not 10 minutes later, and she's only on the California freeway for maybe 2 exits, 1 exit, 2 exit. And we get a call from her and she's shaking. She's like, Mom, I was hit by a car. And then, so my husband and I got up, drove over there. The light is, light speed. And the CHP guy, there's California Highway Patrol's there, and he looks at us and he goes, I don't know how her car didn't manage to flip or spin out on this freeway based on the point of impact. And later on, my daughter said, Mom, it was so weird. I felt the hit, and I felt the car floating over to the side of the road and just stopping parallel to the freeway off the road. So that is the power of angels, but we have to come in and use them. Ask for the mundane, ask for good parking spaces, ask for great sales during the holiday season, whatever it is. If they can do it, they will. Start using your angels now. And that's how I realized when the angels were talking to us about how humanity needs us more now than ever, humanity's been taught a few things about angels that are incorrect. My problem is not worthy enough of their help, right? We've all heard that in almost every church out there, that I'm not deserving of their help. I'm not worthy of it. So we need to stop that false program, that pre-programmed belief that we've been all indoctrinated with, to start calling on our angels. The more angels we can call on, the stronger we become, the more intact and healthier our soul becomes. But here's the kicker. We have to call on the angels from the higher realms, the God source angels, not the fallen angels, not the shapeshifters. When I call on my angels and any other light being, I always vet them. Learning to discern is key. So many of us have just been, just trust. I'm not going to question. Trust your guides. If you're working with your spiritual team or your guides, start vetting them. Get to learn how they feel. Get to learn how they look. Pour salt on them. Salt cleanses in all dimensions. Pour frankincense oil on them. And if you can't see them, pour the frankincense oil on where you feel like they are at. And then start to feel for a shift. Is there a shift? Did some disappear? Did some shape shift? The reptilians are really good at shape shifting. When you do that, the light side really rewards us because they need to get rid of these beings and entities too. So don't just assume your angels or whomever you're working with are who they are. Start vetting them. And we do this as parents. We're not going to send our 5-year-old across the street to go to an ice cream truck of a total stranger.
Laura, let's I want to reach out to the community. Hello, everybody out on Rumble, and I don't even know if I haven't seen any comments from the YouTube, which is not surprising. I'm suppressed on YouTube, but if you guys have questions about this, please start putting them in there right now. And we're going to take a brief break, and then I'll give you guys a minute to discuss this, and we're going to pick this up with Laura. Hi, everyone. Janine with Turn the Page. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. And if you're not feeling well, I've got such a product for you guys. So I've been talking to you guys about Field of Greens, and I just started this program for myself. And I thought, why not put this out on my channel and let everyone else know about it? So give yourself a healthy habit and boost your superfoods powers. That's exactly what it is. It's not a supplement. Basically, this product believes in creating the best power greens in science-backed formula. Give your healthy habits a boost with the Superfoods Field of Greens. They believe in the best powder greens in science-backed formula. 100% of real USDA organic fruits and vegetables. None of the extracts and that other vegetable powder use that is out there. Antioxidants, fiber, and probiotics. Safe for the whole family and the athletes. Just one scoop of Field of Greens gives you the full spectrum of colors with fruits, veggies, herbs, spices, and more, and it really tastes very good. So this nutrient-dense superfood powder helps with the overall well-being by adding an antioxidant, lipid metabolism, and glucose metabolism, and I'm really needing that right now. I've noticed that things are changing with me, in the last couple of years quite a bit. Since the Field of Greens is made with real foods and it's technically not a supplement, I was on board right away. And this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. So down below here in this banner, you'll see that you can save up to 30% by using this code. Please go to turnthepage.social, and order yours today. There are military discounts also for anybody that is in the military, so keep saving as much as you guys can, and you're getting the good benefits from it. Again, antioxidant boosts your immune system, completely organic, and supports healthy metabolism, a natural source of vitamins and minerals. Thank you, and now we're going to go back to our regular show. I'm such a dork. Okay, so all right, so while that was playing, we've got like 3 questions that came up, and I can ask you, Laura, if you want to go into more details or start answering the questions or hold them off to the end. It's all up to you.
Do questions as they come because it makes it more relevant to what we're discussing. Thank you.
Okay, so the first one comes from Ames Q17. It says, "What are the higher angels called?" And she's got a second part to that, or how to call only them.
Good question, by the way. There's politics in all dimensions, including the higher dimensions. And what we need to understand is that angels cannot, or excuse me, when we do not ask angels for assistance, they cannot ascend in their ranks. So the more we ask for their help, the more they have the opportunity to ascend in their ranks and grow and evolve too. So what I do, and there's archangels, there's many types of angels. We've got the seraphim, the whole grouping, and the angelic realms were created specifically to help humanity. You know, God knows when we decide to come here that, you know, we need some assistance, and they're here to help us. We're never alone. So what I do is I will literally say, I am requesting a team of angels. Give them your number if you want. I'm requesting a team of 200 angels, 1,000 angels, 4 angels, whatever you intuitively feel like you need. I'm requesting a team of angels to be with me while I'm on the show with Janine, and be specific with what you want, to guide my words, to guide the questions, to give me the best, to help me get the best information to put out there for people. So you can be very specific. If you have children and they have night terrors or sleep tremor, or night terrors or sleep paralysis, bring the angels in your child's room 24/7. Start to raise the frequency of your home. I'm going a little bit off track, but not really, because I know night terrors are a really big thing with children. And most doctors say, oh, that's just normal. No, it's not normal for your child to be terrorized, period.
No.
And sorry, I get a little sarcastic and
Normal has changed. That's not normal.
no. And so you bring them into your child's room, have them surround your child at night. I'm requesting this team of angels surround my child at night to protect them, to remove any and all dark entities, negative energies, low frequency energies as they may come into the room. You can do it for the whole house too. You can also, I'm going to kind of sidebar a little bit here, to raise the frequency of the room. There's a few tips and strategies you can use. Essential oil diffuser is really helpful. Essential oils are very high frequency. A green night light. They're all over the hardware stores now where you can change the colors of the night lights. The frequency of green at night does create a shield or a barrier that these lower level beings have a hard time crossing into. So that can also help your child feel safer at night. And you don't tell them why you're doing it, depending on their age, but just say, hey, here's a green night light. Isn't that cool? And just, leave it and forget about it. So,
or just get all green lights for Christmas right now.
Exactly. Exactly. And so calling your angels, be specific, and then vet them. I'm calling on the angels from the higher realms. And then when I see or sense them, I'm going to visualize myself pouring salt on them, frankincense oil on them. God, or the 3 magi gave the Christ child frankincense, gold, and myrrh. We never asked, well, why did he get tree sap, right? Gold makes sense. He can, go out and buy his little car or whatever, horse and buggy, right? No, those are high frequency substances. The 3 magi knew he was in for a wild ride when he came here. So it helped him to stay clean and clear. So we can use those same tools. If it's good enough for Christ, guys, it's good enough for me. It's good enough for you. So vet your angels. Visualize yourself pouring salt on them, pouring frankincense oil on them.
Okay, so you did answer the second one. Thank you, Buck, for asking one. And the other one was, I'm not sure if he says, can I tell who my angels? I'm not sure. It's COM. I guess the question is coming from, they're just basically saying, how can I tell who my angel is, I guess.
Who your angels are. This is a really good practice in spiritual techniques and spiritual tools. First and foremost, we are spiritual beings. We know this. So we're spiritual beings first, we're humans second. Now, we're looking at developing our soul health, creating a healthier soul, bringing in the angels, getting to know and feel comfortable with your spiritual team takes spiritual practice. Spiritual practices, our lawyers have them, doctors have them, so why shouldn't we have them? Give yourself the gift of time, even if it's 2 minutes in the morning, to meditate, to get centered, to say, okay, this is my intention for the day. Intention is it's an extremely powerful energy we all have within us. So start to work on your spiritual practices, start to bring in your angel, start to bring in your spiritual team, start to listen to them. And by listening, it's not like you're necessarily hearing them here, but you're feeling how they feel. You're feeling for a response. It's not a literal human mind construct all the time. If that were the case, we'd be exhausted because we could never stop hearing the chatter. So really good question. Yeah.
Which thought is mine and which is not?
Right. You know, I'm going to talk about this a little bit, but I deal in the unseen energetic world. I deal with the dark and dirty. I was coined the psychic cleaning lady for a while. It's like, oh, great. But removing these dark intelligences, handing them off to the higher realms so they can take care of them is a big deal. I had a client a couple of weeks ago who says, do I have a soul? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, do I have a soul and am I a good soul? He's like 18 years old, young kid. And I said, well, why are you asking me this question? He says, because I keep hearing these voices in my head that tell me to harm my sister and to tell me to harm our pets. And I said, do you? And then he got kind of upset that I actually asked him the question. And he's like, well, no, of course not. And I said, that's the answer to your question. You are a good soul. What's happening is the unseen energetic world is trying to push you to do things that you wouldn't normally do. That's a problem. And that's what we really have to look at when it comes to humanity. So I worked with him and we cleared things up. He had literally a handful of reptilians and a couple other lower level beings all within his space. And how did they get there? It kind of couple of things. One was it came through the family lines. Another is that, he was born into it. Not that he was a bad person, but these beings and entities will attach onto us as they can. So, people say, well, why me? And I'm like, well, why not? Everybody's just, we're just their lunch. So we have to figure out how to do things differently. We cleaned him up and he's been fine ever since. The voices are gone.
Oh, fantastic. If you guys have any more questions out there, we've got a few more people coming in. I don't think anybody really got much of my notifications, which is the reason why I don't see a lot of people in the chat here today. But I just want to say thank you to my moderators who are out there. So this is all good information. So, I'm going to kind of throw in what's been happening today in the craziness that's going on with what you're just saying. There are people out there that can be MK Ultra to believe that they're hearing a silenced voice. We have technology, we have earbuds, we have hearing aids, we have all this type of stuff that sounds like a second voice. Now, I don't want to convolute for what you're saying, but there are people out there that are getting messages. However, they may have been under the influence of somebody very negative. So that's a walking human being that may be able to do this. You're talking more along the lines of things that are not in a physical body, right?
All of the above. I deal with MK Ultra victims. I work with super soldiers. Pretty much all of the dark and dirty entities I've been in contact with and removed them. By removing them, I don't bind, bury, or cast away because that just shoves the problem under the rug. We need to set them back and send them back to God's source. But you're right. The living, so there's many types of haunting. When we think of a haunting, we think of ghosts, the dead people haunting the living, right? That's generally what we talk about. When what you're talking about, Jeannie, is a really good question. And this is kind of the hardest one to deal with. The living haunting the living. those that are set out to intentionally do harm. And what happens is they may reincarnate. What I've learned over and over and over is that there's a lot of people out there who were soul napped in between heaven and earth. And I'm just kind of using some basic terminology here. They've been soul napped. When you're soul napped, you reincarnate here from the lower astral, from the hells, from limbo. You come back here broken. You come back here with maybe a personality disorder. Not that everybody with a personality disorder is having this experience, but they come back broken, and then they're easily manipulated. And it really takes a lot of conscious effort on that person's part to break the chains that bind them. Bad things happen to good people all the time. And let's say you were found that you came from the lower astral. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It means that something happened. And when you die of a trauma, if we look at the Middle East right now, that's just a feeding frenzy for the dark side to gain soul energies.
Mhm.
I worked with a client earlier this week who is in the Middle East, actually just Monday. And I spent most of my time cleaning up and recollecting soul pieces and soul fragments. I had one young woman, and this is going to be a brutal thing to say. I've never said anything like this online. So if you are sensitive, just mute this for like the next 10 seconds. I had a woman who died, and she told me that what they do is they cut their Achilles tendon so they can't run away. And then that creates such a trauma within the soul, that they're fractured. We have to cross these souls over into the higher realms when they die so they can get the soul healing and soul restoration they need and deserve. If we were to let Jeffrey Epstein roam the hells, he's going to build his army. Everything is politics. Spirituality and politics are one and the same. Every good department has a recruitment team. The lower astral, the higher realms, our businesses, our corporations, they all have recruitment departments. We have to understand that. The dark side wants to grow their numbers also. I had another client.
Before you go on with that, I want to make a statement here. This is a really good point that you're bringing up here, because we've all heard about the evil stuff that has been done in this planet, and for us being food to certain things. I'm not going to go into that whole thing, but there's a lot of people out there actually saying that a lot of the stuff up in the, or wherever, if we're on a flat earth, I'm not sure, but a lot of things have actually been cleared up, from a perspective of war up there, that they've taken care of what am I trying to say? I can't think of the name of the word, but anyways, that a lot of that has been taken care of. So does that mean that there are still a lot of these? I guess what you're basically saying is that when we die, and if we're at a low vibration, that we could still be in the realms to come back and reincarnate, because there's been an entrapment, if you will, or I'm not sure the term that you use, but they come back again and they reincarnate, and they just keep reaping havoc on us here. Now, we are all trying to raise our vibration. We're all trying to get to this higher level of consciousness, but are these entities not being dealt with out there, if you will? I mean, you're asking us to call on angels to get to know our angels, build a relationship, for asking, help me, teach me, guide me, is what I've always taught my community, and that's perfect. But I guess where I'm going with this is I'm trying to understand if we are in what we are in right now, and some people say it's biblical, some people just say that this is a spiritual war. Where are we at with these entities? Are they not being taken care of once they die and created? Like you're talking about the war, that's a perfect example. Where are they going? I mean, if there's some of them are contacting a lot of people to do it that do what you do, to be able to get help to move on. But where are all these other souls escaping to? Are they just coming right back?
And you may be more of an expert on this than I am, but I believe the average reincarnation cycle from the higher realms is about 150 years or so, I believe. If somebody comes back within a year, there may be an issue with where they came from. So having said that, there's a lot of beings and entities that's the pursuit of the human soul is what they're after, the dark side. And on my YouTube channel at The Karmic Path, I have a couple episodes called the Sierra Files. And I do a past life regression with a woman named Sierra who is in my lab. And she has missing time. And in this particular regression, it was the craziest thing, but I know it to be true. She drops into the eyes of a present day Brazilian farmer in real time. And he's stunned. So somehow the light side's working with him to get us this information. He is watching, I think it was a reptilian or maybe an insectoid ship going into the earth and pulling out these canisters. And these canisters are human soul energy. And that was a huge aha moment for me. So they are storing soul energy for their use later on. Their use could be to reincarnate them, to utilize their energy for whatever their purpose is. So there's a lot to it. It's kind of ugly. It's kind of scary. You talked about how we're trying to build our frequency. Most people are, I would think. And there's those that maybe they came in really dark, or maybe there's not a human soul in that body that wreaks havoc upon us. We have, frankly, I think the universe's most beautiful planet. If we look at all the other planets in the galaxy out there, ours is totally the best looking one. But it's also a warring planet. There's a lot of war, there's a lot of strife, and it comes from other beings and entities that are trying to take over this planet and take over humanity.
Okay, I'm just going to plug your book here for a minute. I'm sorry to interrupt. This is you guys. This is really good information that she's providing. She does have a book out there called Soul Tribe: Navigating the Spiritual War. It is on. It's a paperback. It's on Amazon. And it's priced just right, you guys, because I've seen a lot of people put some books out there. It's like, oh my God, all right, I'll miss my groceries next week. This is very affordable out here. It's a paperback, and it is from Laura. And you guys take a look at it, see if it interests you. We do have to understand our soul on so many levels. And so if you don't mind, I'm going to stop sharing. And I also want to try to get in another question here. And this is coming from Buck. He says that, what can we do to heal the past trauma? Or is this the same as calling on our angels?
Really good question. We can do so much to heal past trauma. One is we can call on our angels to help us heal. And so past traumas can be current life traumas. It could be past life traumas also. And sometimes we don't know. If you're at a point in your life where you keep hitting the same roadblock over and over and over, maybe you keep going for this promotion at work and you keep getting turned down, or you can't seem to find the right partner to be with. What are those blocks? And that could actually be an indication of a past life trauma where there's a block or a barrier. Spending time with yourself, understanding yourself as best as we can is one of the best ways that we can learn to heal ourselves, right? I do have a few blogs on my website as well that do address this. And again, we have to do what rings true for us. If I'm saying something that doesn't ring true for you, you need to evaluate the why. And you need to be okay with disagreeing with me. Don't hand your power over to somebody on a silver platter. You own your soul. We talk about our physical health. We talk about our mental health, our emotional health. We talk about our financial health probably more than anything else. But when do we talk about our soul's health? And when we can start addressing the soul and what that means, and the soul is simply the energy that animates this body. When we leave these bodies, our karmic time here is done. We need to go back home to the higher realms. The dark side has put thoughts in our heads like, oh, he died young, he had a family, he has unfinished business to do, so he's not crossing over. Or, oh, they were a bad soul, they deserve to rot in hell. Those are pre-programmed beliefs to give them, the dark side, access to soul energy. So in
So
that
let me.
book, Mhm.
I just want to briefly go through your website, you guys, if you want to, if you're more interested in it. It's called the karmicpath.com, and under her blog, she has what is a psychic attack, karma, and reincarnation, and how do they affect each other? What is the dark entity? We need to have you come back again because you have some really good information out there. How to reprogram your subconscious mind and embrace a spiritual transformation. It's kind of like what we were talking about in our roundtable on Sunday that we had out there. People were just, trying. We talk about. I'm going to stop sharing. You guys go to the karmicpath.com for more information. We talk about raising our vibration. It sounds really cool. It sounds like a bumper sticker if people still make bumper stickers, but it's one of those things that you just can't. You can say this stuff, but we have to do it, and so you have to be conscious every single minute of what you're saying, how you're saying, and a lot of times people may misunderstand you because you might be coming with an emotion behind that. But a lot of this is you reprogramming your own subconscious to find out who you truly are. And I think I said this a couple of times this week, and this is why Laura's here, is a lot of people don't even know themselves. And getting to know yourself is basically just trying to understand what are your triggers, what are it's not all negative stuff. It's you have to also embrace the beautiful side of your soul, seeing your light, embracing that light. When I was younger, I was always told something, and I could never say thank you for it because I'm hearing it over and from different people that would kind of give me affirmations about myself, and I didn't see it myself. And then I had my best friend that says, "I really wish you could see what I see." And I didn't know what that meant. And I said, all right, this is time for me to start. We talk about doing research out on everything that's going on in the world. Well, we got to start with research for ourselves. Once we find that research for ourselves, everything about us changes. Our creativity opens up, our whole world opens up.
Absolutely. And the only element we take with us when we die is our soul. And I know I want to have the healthiest soul possible. That to me is paramount. And that's why I do what I do. The book is reasonably priced because I want everybody to be able to afford it. Inside that book, there's a crossing over prayer, and there's a prayer to remove dark entities if you think you're suffering from those elements. In those blogs, it talks about what that may look like. And also, 100% of the proceeds goes to my foundation to help other people down the road.
Beautiful. What is your foundation or what do you?
It's Lightstream Foundation, and I'm starting to grow it. What it is, what I'm envisioning is that I start to help people, especially parents whose children committed suicide.
That is so important right now. It really is. What is the suicide rate now compared to what it was maybe 10 years ago, Laura?
It's huge.
Yeah.
Everybody knows somebody who, right? And 9.9 times out of 10, a person commits suicide because of the unseen energetic world that's affecting them. And then when you die by suicide, I hate to say this, but you don't cross over because your frequency is so low. Violence is one thing, but violence against oneself is even lower than violence perpetrated to another. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is when they die, they're in a huge dark fog bank and they cannot see the light. It's like driving in the fog. You have to slow down. You can't see the light. But I have this ability to work with people so that, and Janie, you and I have done this once or twice. So we open up I create a scenario where we can start seeing who's there and we cross them over. And this wasn't, necessarily with Janie, but I wanted Janie to have this experience to understand a little bit about what I do, but to bring in your loved one who's died, who hasn't crossed over. They're healing in the space. And then what happens is I'll back off and they'll have a conversation with their loved one, and then they get to watch them cross over. And then we close it up. We never leave a doorway open.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I mean, there's so much to the healing that you're talking about. It's a process like everything else is. And also, don't forget to mention that once you are actually doing a consultation or helping somebody with this, their body feels it, and they have to. There's things that you have to prepare for beforehand and afterhand. Is that correct?
Absolutely. When I work with somebody, there's not much to do beforehand, but don't drink a lot of alcohol and that kind of thing, right?
Invite in more spirits.
Right. Yeah. Because we don't need any more. No, I'm kidding. But and then what happens is, and I don't want to kind of like let the cat out of the bag, but they feel a huge shift when we're done. A huge shift. It's a huge release to know where your loved one is. I worked with somebody yesterday, and this kind of, I shouldn't really say this, but I will. I'm driving home and I have an emergency client, and I'm like, okay, what you got? And I'm talking to her, and she has a loved one who died. He was homeless, drug addict in a homeless encampment. Okay. Now, what came with him was all of these other dead addicts. If you're an addict in life, you may not cross over. And so we're literally crossing thousands over while I'm driving home. And she can see it and she can feel it. And when we were done, she's like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. So it's a real thing. This is just, it's a heavy energy. And when we can help souls, that's what's going to shift the world.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just going to ask one more time if anybody has any questions out there. Please put them in the chat. I kind of lost the chat for a second. I don't see anything that's even happening remotely on YouTube, but for me, I can't see Laura's YouTube on there. I think we're going. Are we going to your YouTube or your Rumble?
We're on my Rumble right now. I'm not sure about the YouTube.
Okay, good. So if you guys want to check hers. Also, too, see, Janie, if you want to, or Laura, if you want to check yours for a minute, I'm going to just talk a little bit about another affiliate that I have, but I'm not going to go into like a long thing. But so you guys, just want to let you know, we are all talking about emergencies and things that are coming up, and we do have these emergencies. I'm now affiliated with the Wellness Company, and the Wellness Company actually has a medical kit out there. There's certain words that I'm not allowed to use, but you guys can get the gist of it when I start to say ivermectin is in this wellness. So if you can have a kit and keep it in your house for any type of emergency, you can get, actually, if you actually sign up for a subscription, you'll save $50 right there. If you use TTP 10, you'll get another 10% off of there. And then I think they actually have, for the first time, you can save another 10%. So you're saving pretty much, 20% discount off of it, then a 50% or $50 discount. So I can, just let you know, this is a great kit to help you through whatever is happening out there that is airborne or what have you. But we need to prepare. And I've always said, what is your plans? What is it that you need to do? So if you need more information, go over to turnthepage.social and look it up. It is the Wellness Company, and it's a medical emergency kit. I don't know if I should said medical. It's a kit that'll help you somewhere in the field of health. All right. Even though I'm on YouTube, that's okay, but I also got to be very careful on Rumble, because I kind of feel that I'm being suppressed on Rumble, not being careful there either. We all have to be careful. We all basically have to, watch our P's and Q's at this time in life. And it really sucks that they're taking away our First Amendment, our Second Amendment, our Fourth Amendment, but they won't give the 25th Amendment to the current resident. Anyway, that's another show. You guys, please put in any questions. Do you guys get any questions on Laura's side out there? Did Janie or Laura, did you see any out on Rumble for yours? Okay. Someone is asking, why does a person feel they need to end their lives? Whoa. That's a loaded question.
That's a loaded question.
They're at the end of their rope. It is desperation. I can even answer that, but you can add on to it, Laura, because I don't deal with this stuff as much as you do. But all that I can tell you is each and every one of us have been at that point. We've all been at the precipice to say, I'm done. I don't want to be here anymore. And there's no silver lining that I can see coming towards us. But the thing is what Laura says, call on those angels. You don't have to know their name. So in my world of the Akashics, I was taught we don't need to know their names, if you will. We don't need to know exactly who they are, but we need to be able, like you said, feel their energy, know that there's something. You feel their wings around you. You have to know that if you would just ask the right questions, like she said, and I've always said, help me, guide me, save me. Those are the type of things, teach me, and that stuff will appear. And because we are raising the vibration, we also raise the vibration, hopefully, for the ones that are feeling this low. And I'm not sure if that's true or not, but there's 7 billion people in this world. And if all of us are at this point that we are becoming more spiritual and we are all doing our work, that's a big notch up in consciousness. And so I think that I go to the 12th dimension, and I fluctuate throughout my readings, and I know that. And as I fluctuate, the lowest that I will come down to is at the medium level, where I will see loved ones that come in. I don't like to stay there, though. I always ask them, help me bring the energy back up. But if there is a message, I will give a message. And they don't ever really talk about why it is that they die on the other side.
Suicide's contagious. This is the issue. It's contagious. When somebody dies of suicide, they don't cross over. The guilt, the grief, the remorse really kicks in. Now, my loved one who committed suicide is hanging on to me. I may not see them, but I can sometimes sense them. I'm sensing their grief, their despair, their depression. But I don't know if it's mine or I don't know if it's theirs. Crossing them over is the most humane thing we can do. These are souls in trouble. Many of our churches have said, if you commit suicide, you deserve to burn in hell, right? That's the last thing that should happen to them. I had a client, and she's from somewhere in the continent of Africa, that's all I can say, who says, I feel like I'm going to commit suicide every day. And so I start working with them. Whoa, she's had a whole entourage with her. Long story short, she had 17 family members commit suicide. This is a karmic cycle for her family, right? So we crossed them all over. We broke that karmic cycle. She no longer felt suicidal after that. And this is why teenage boys especially were finding a higher suicide rate, is because they're in resonance with other teenage boys who have committed suicide. If we can start to cross them over, it lightens that living person's load.
So Laura, what I'm actually seeing out there, so there's so much confusion that is going on in this world, more than when I was a kid. When I was 13 years old, my biggest thing was I didn't study for a test, and I'm afraid I'm going to fail. I hate life. I'm ending it, which is nothing, right? Wow. These kids today are trying to figure out, because of the brainwashing that's happening on TikTok, the queer community hates all something, and then something hates something else. It is so bad right now that I just can't imagine. So if you keep talking more and more about this, and let them know, let's talk about this. We could talk about what different reasons why somebody kills themselves, but what happens on the other side once they do it?
Chances are the dark side grabs their souls. There is no escape. We've been programmed to believe that, they're in a better place. How do we know that? We don't. We've been programmed to think those thoughts. So when somebody commits suicide, they do not cross over. They are harassed by dark entities. And anybody who's listening to this that has a loved one who's committed suicide, it's not to feel guilty or shame or blame. It's to help their loved one cross over. Bring your angels in and say, angels, please cross my loved one over and take them to the higher realms right now. It can be that simple. Here's something you mentioned about the transgender communities. The concept of the pronouns is designed to separate the soul from God. They, them invites inhabitation. Now, all of a sudden, I'm they, them. I'm more than one soul. I'm more than one in this body. I'm inviting all this crap into my body. We need to get rid of the pronouns. It's a distraction. It's designed to break down our soul health, especially if we're shifting pronouns. And it's not to say that somebody who may be legitimately gay, legitimately lesbian, or whatever, that's not what we're discussing.
Right. That's not even the issue.
No, it's not. And that becomes irrelevant compared to the programming we've been doing to our children. And I was a public school teacher. I can look back and see, wow, are we programming these kids? And I remember about 15 years ago, this curriculum, I think it was South Carolina, came across the board there called the Purple Unicorn. And they're teaching children in kindergarten to start questioning if they feel like a boy or feel like a girl today. Why is that even a question?
To confuse them.
Their goal is to learn how to read and write, do some math, and play, right? So what we're doing to our children is horrible. We have to, as parents, understand that we have the power to turn it around. Do not give your power to the schools. I'm a former school teacher. These school unions do not have your children's interest at heart.
I just say just keep them home, teach them whatever you can. There's so many programs. Actually, it's been reported that there's a very low attendance with public schools. Nobody's putting there. I wouldn't, if I had a kid, even if I had grandchildren, I'd be like saying, okay, everybody come to my house. We're all going to learn ABCs here and cursive. Go back to I pledge allegiance, go back to those basic things. There's another question out there, but you're bringing up really good points, and we can. I would love to have you back again and continue this. You have so much on your website. You guys get out there and check it out. Get her book. There's a question that says, how about those that got sick and just gave up? So in essence, that's a great question for now, right? I mean,
yeah,
I don't think that is how do I put this?
Sometimes,
yeah, that's not even an issue because it was done to them, right?
Yeah, it's a great question because we want to make sure that we cross over. So if you have a loved one who's sick and they just give up, they're tired of fighting the fight, that's okay. They've lived their life and there's nothing more there. Do they want more medical treatment, more torture in that sense, right? That's a fair question. In reality, we put our animals down before they're in too much pain. What's the difference?
So
I'm not advocating assisted suicide, but I'm just saying if they want to give up, bring in angels. You're in the hospital room, someone's dying, bring in angels, instruct the angels to cross your loved one over immediately upon death.
Can I tell you, my sister was in hospice and I went over to her knowing what I know, and she knows everything that I've known too. And I said, "Are you afraid?" She says, "I'm not afraid." And we were in a Catholic hospice hospital that they had set up for us. Beautiful place. And there was an angel statue outside the window. And she said to me, "You see that out there?" And I had to get up and look and said, "Oh, yeah, it was St. Alexis," because that was the name of the hospital. And she says, "You see that out there?" She goes, "They're in here every night. They were with her." She was very much calling on the angels. I didn't have to tell her to do that. And then she also let me know that Dad came in and talked to her and told her it was all going to be all right. You never know who your angel is. It could be your mother, your father. It could be a pet. It could be, an archangel, what have you. But if you're in a place of peace before you die, and hospice is still, you're still crossing over no matter what. So suicide is a little bit different than what you're talking about. There's so many people out there right now that just feel that that's the best way to leave this planet. In it, I think there may be even more. So if you know of somebody, this is great information, right, Laura? Because I'm seeing somebody out there that just put out there that they knew 5 people that committed suicide, that contacted them before they committed suicide. I think it is in the last year. There's so much of that because of the stuff that's been done to us. But I think if it's been done to us, I think that they're going to be crossing over into the correct places that they need to. That's a whole different issue than what you're talking about. But still, they fought it on some level, but on another level, they didn't know any better. So if they didn't know any better, it's almost as if I think that they're well protected and guided by the angels. That's just my belief.
We have to understand that, and we're going to talk in code here for a moment. There are certain things that have been put upon us that were mandated medicines. We were lied to, right? Our free will was mitigated by the omission of truth. Period. Some people understood it right away. Some people didn't, but we're all on a different spiritual path. And if somebody, excuse me, if somebody's out there who got the mandated medicine for whatever reason, their job loss, whatever belief system, there's remedies that you can use to help yourself. And I believe that the kit you're talking about can help people also.
Yeah, everybody take a look at that. At least know even if you get one to keep in the family, go to my website and take a look at it. And let's see here. There's another question out there from Buck, and it's a great question. We're kind of moving away from the suicide thing. I don't want to spend a lot of time there because it's a really sensitive thing. But what if the ones that have overdosed and die? I had a brother-in-law that, it's no different from the opioids. I'll say that. And what's inside of those versus the other stuff that people are getting on the street. It's the same damn thing. And if you all of a sudden get an addiction to one of those things, you're taking your own life in your hands. What happens with those souls that have that addiction that was, again, put upon them?
Right. Well, so somebody who died from an overdose, it's going to be the similar situation, because when you leave your body, the energy of that medicine is still within your soul, or the medicine, the drugs is still within your soul.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is you want to bring in the angels to make sure they cross over. And Buck, that's a fantastic question. I deal with that a lot. People are just kind of lost and confused in this netherland, and helping them to cross over is a really big deal. It changes the trajectory of their soul path for an eternity.
Yeah. When you do find somebody that has passed, whether it was from an illness, suicide, or something like that, please rapidly go up there and just do a very quick prayer. You guys, I'm talking about a medical emergency kit. Inside that medical emergency kit should be a prayer. Or you should be able to carry one in your wallet, like you carry your driver's license, or anything else that you carry in your purse. A prayer should be there at that moment, because what happens is that nobody is thinking straight, but oh, I've got something here and I'm going to say it, and you put it out there. That is so powerful. Just having somebody standing over you and saying, what would be the prayer for that, Laura?
It's in my book.
Okay, good.
It's in the book. There's 2 of them. And I give everybody permission. You can make 1 million copies of those prayers. I don't care. Pass them out. Help others.
So, Laura, next time you come back on here, would you be willing to give away a book to the people in the chat here? Because I have a giveaway tool. Okay.
You know what? Absolutely, I would. Yes. And we could even do it today if you wanted to. I don't know if that's logistically possible, but I'm happy to.
Well, they would have to, I'm going to have Janie do it. Janie, if you can open up the Rumble chat either on my Rumble, or else Laura's running the same video on hers, and you pick a name out of there, and then we'll just ask the people to contact TTP Readings. I'll put mine up there, and then I'll forward that over to Laura. Or Laura, if you want to tell me in the private chat to your right in StreamYard, it says private chat. You put your email in there if you want them to contact you directly, and I'll put that up on the screen. You guys, I'm going to show you the book one more time. It's an excellent book. She's got prayers out there. 1 second here. I got to open up my Rumble. Okay. Do you have it on Kindle at all?
I have it on Kindle as well. Yes.
Yeah. Why don't we do the Kindle version? That way they can get it instantly. If you don't mind, if you're okay with that.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. So let's see. It's called the karmicpath.com. Karmic
Oh, you know what? Yeah, thekarmicpath.com. And I just gave Janie the wrong email. So let me do this.
Okay, so Janie, we're going to let you look through that. We'll give you a minute or two. This is exciting. I know at the bottom under the, where was it at the bottom where your book is at? Order now. So let me just show this. I'm going to show the page, and then I'm going to show where it's at. If somebody wants it and they don't, they want it anyways, and it's not a matter of winning it. It's called Navigating the Spiritual War. It's Soul Tribe. I love what are those fairies that are on there? Angels?
More like angels. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and so if you order this now, you want to go to Amazon. It's out there. It's only $12, you guys. It's a couple of Starbucks cup of coffees there, maybe one at this point. I have no idea. But this is a beautiful cover here. And so there we go. Now I'm going to take it back to Janie. I'm going to stop sharing. I think this is where I was going to go. I wanted to show you her website. And Janie, did you find some lucky person out there today?
I did. I'm thinking hula hoop.
Oh my God! Hula hoop! I love it. Hula hoop. Oh, I'm gonna cry for her. So hula hoop. All you have to do is I see it in the private chat. I'm gonna grab. Which one do you want me to grab? Oh, the top one.
I do the second one. Actually, my email is out public anyways. Laura@thekarmicpath.com.
Okay. Let me put this up here. Hula hoop. Whoa, this is fantastic. Let me go back to my comments. So she could see this here on the screen. There's a little bit of a delay, but especially when it goes to Rumble. I'm going to just leave that up there. Congratulations, Hula Hoop. This is fantastic. Of all the people out there, and I don't know anybody else, but I know her. What a beautiful soul she is. She's well deserving of this. Thank you so much, Laura. This was awesome.
Thank
And I
you.
do want before we leave, I want to talk to you a little bit because I was talking to a friend last night or the day before. My dearest friend. She used to be a co-host with me, and she got on the phone with me, and I could tell, the phone kept going in and out, some interference, and I sometimes I can hear her, and other times I couldn't hear her, and I said, "Hey, did you just wake up?" Because I knew her energy was off, right? And she said, "Yeah." She goes, "I slept really hard. We worked all weekend, with chickens and all this other stuff." And I said, "Can you just sit on the edge of your bed there or wherever you are and put your feet on the ground and call back all essences of yourself?" Because I felt like she wasn't completely there. Now, I heard, I don't know if it was from Janie or from your site or anything like that. And she did, and she felt a lot better. I heard the shift, the call got clear, and all was good for us to talk for 3 hours. But what happens, and I think you were going to talk about this, or we can pick it up next time, when you say I don't consent and you're fragmented. I think that was the terminology. Can you go into that a little bit?
There's these unseen energies, entities out there that are trying to mitigate our free will. When we stand our ground and say, I do not consent, we're not giving them permission. So I'm just going to, these unseen entities, a lot of us we have soul contracts, right? It's possible that there are contracts out there that are contracts of omission or false data. Those are not true contracts that these beings and entities put upon us. So when we say, I do not consent, we are not giving them permission. However, is our entire soul essence within our body when we say that? Or is there pieces or fragments that are in a different timeline? Or are they literally, is there a piece of us, our soul, that is missing? We talk about soul retrieval. If that's the case, when we say, I do not consent, it can be harder for that to work.
Beautiful. Now, Janie, you've been quiet the whole time. Any questions for her?
Well, I was just thinking, there's a lot of ways that Laura has helped me, and I was going to say, so we did cross my mom over at one point because not that it was bad, but every time I looked in the mirror, I was seeing her, like when she was at that point in her life when she got sick. And I was like, I don't think so. But the other place too, I don't remember exactly what we were doing. But I had just been told that all of the reptilians had been taken care of. Do you remember that?
I got so many emails on that one.
Laura and I were doing something, and she goes, "What do you see?" And I'm because I'm very visual. Like I see, and even when people talk, I see what they're talking about. It's like a movie is playing, and so I'm watching like reptilians, and even to the form of like dinosaurs, and I'm like thinking, but somebody that I thought I trusted just told me that these were all gone. So I'm trying to figure out why they're still there. And Laura's like, hello?
We have to learn to discern. This was a great opportunity for that, right?
Yeah.
What rings true for us and why? And the reality is there's many different types of humans, many shapes, sizes, colors, clearly many genders nowadays. Kidding.
We have the rainbow.
There's many different types of reptilians out there, and I could go into a whole dissertation on those guys. But in general, they're not here for our greater good. And, there's other species out there too. I could do a whole nother thing on those beings and entities, but you're right. So it would be awesome if they were gone. It would be awesome if we could have our planet back and live in this love and light that we've been taught that we should have, right?
Well, what do you think about a majority of them have been taken care of? Because I don't know where all that information has come from, but and that's why I was kind of asking, I was alluding to that question, if they've taken care of the main ones up there that Reeve had, basically got control of a lot of different things. And I think what you were speculating on are the other souls that are, I think you said they were lower vibration, and whatever, there's still some roaming around and about, and there's still homes that are haunted. There's still what we call ghosts out there. There's still that going on. Let me ask you one more question. And before I get to that question, Hula Hoop, if you're watching this, it's Laura at thekarmicpath.com, not open a new tab. I don't know where that came from. I copied and pasted. I took it right from the private chat and it added that. So it's Laura at thekarmicpath.com. And if anybody else wants to reach out to her, if you're concerned about your house, if you want some consultation from her, also go to her website. So what was my question going to be to you? Oh, okay. How do you protect yourself while doing this? I mean, I've only once had an entity attack me, and I knew how to handle them because I had a spiritual teacher that told me how to do this. And, if I can just take a couple of minutes and tell you what it was like when they were trying to spiritually attack me in the middle of the night. It was almost like the boogeyman. It felt like that, like when I was a kid, that there was the boogeyman was in the room, and I felt paralyzed. And I just thought, I know what this is. Get the hell out of here. Get away from me. I was talking to it like, you're not wanted here, that type of thing. And it took a few times for me to do that. And only once, well, I had it twice. And I actually woke up a spiritual teacher at 2 a.m. and said, help me. I know that this is in here. But that's what I had to do. I had to be super strong, matter of fact, if you will. Tell me your experiences when you're doing this.
Safety is paramount. And the work I do with clients, I have so many layers of protection around both of us, all of us, and it's an unseen protection for many people. One of the best things we can do, a lot of times spiritual practitioners say, surround yourself in a bubble of white light. Okay. How many of us were kids once, right? We blow bubbles and played with bubbles, right?
They pop.
They have no structure to them, right? And I talk about this in the book too, about safety protocols. Put yourself inside of a tetrahedron, a 4-sided pyramid, 3 walls and a floor. It's a visualization technique. And then you can clear it with a violet flame. You can, whatever it is you want to do to clear yourself, but keep your home in this. It really helps. It's the strongest shape we have geometrically speaking. And people say dodecahedron, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's just too complicated. Just, 3 walls and a floor, boom, we're done. So know that there's tools and techniques out there, and I always have to shift how I do business. So what worked for me a year ago or even 6 months ago may not work for me, because the dark side is always watching and studying. If I were to keep my frequencies and my tools and my strategies at status quo, they're going to figure out how to punch through eventually and create a crack in my foundation to get in. We are all evolving in this process. In January, I will be hosting a series of online on-demand classes on spiritual self-defense. I want them to be affordable for everybody because we're all inundated with this. I'm working on actually recording and producing those right now. So there's a lot that I use. One of my all-time favorite devices is from a guy named Ken Rolla, who has this, he calls it a rest shield, and it's a scalar wave energy device that really works. When I first put that in my house, I slept for the first time in years. It just went whoomp, and it just cleared everything. It was crazy good. If anybody wants that, I can give them the link to that. But that's one of the tools I use. This here is a magician cut stone, and it's got phenakite in it, and it's got literally triangulations inside that stone. Essential oils are good sons of protection too. The basics work. Dr. Masaru Emoto, Messages from Water. He talks about the power of thought. Do not go to YouTube and find some high frequency music because that someone produced. How do you know it's high frequency? Because someone said it was? Dr. Masaru Emoto proved that Mozart music worked in his water experiments. Go to what's tried and true. We don't have to be all airy-fairy and loosey-goosey about it. What works for you and why? What does not work for you and why?
Exactly. And one of my spiritual teachers years ago was Carolyn Mace, and she was from the same area than where I live. So I got to go to a lot of her live shootings that she had. She never could do a recording. She had to have people in front of her. And she had said at one point that if we don't learn, our own self-empowerment, that sometimes some of these other things they're an aid to help us, but we have to also be at that vibration and that frequency and believe in ourselves. And you could buy all the woo-woo stuff out there, and but you also have to have, I guess I'm trying to find the right words for saying this.
The internal work, right?
Yes. Yeah, it is definitely all the internal stuff. So I don't wish any dark energy on anybody. And so before we leave, could you just do a clearing of everyone here and everyone at home?
Absolutely. And it will only clear with their permission, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to bring in angels to clean and clear the energy lines that connect us through the ethers. We're going through the computers, we're going through the homes. And you can bring that white light Christ energy through that way. You can bring in high frequency substances that way as well. And we can also request that the angelic realms remove any and all dark entities, lower frequency energies, and take them to the appropriate realm right now. In my house, there are many mansions is one of those Bible verses. What does that mean? It means that the Jeffrey Epsteins of the world are not necessarily, when we cross them over, going to go to the same place that you or I or Janie or anyone else listening was going to go to. So we have to understand that. And so we're just sending out this clearing energy. And it works, but it's also, you have to understand to believe it.
Yeah.
You have to believe it within yourself.
And that'll bring us to our next show. We're going to want to really talk about energy. And a lot of people, they hear what we are saying, but it's easy to say, yeah, we are energy. But then do you really understand how to use your own energy, which is so powerful? And I think your book probably explains that. I haven't read your book at all, but I'm going to check in with Hula Hoop and ask her what she thinks of it, and anybody else that goes out and buy it. Thank you so much, Laura, for being here. Boy, what a breath of fresh air. I'm so glad. Thank you, Janie, for letting me know who she is. And I hope you come back, Laura.
Thank you.
Just blessings to you for this work. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. That's not one part that I want to go do. There are a few people out there. There are a few people that will go to lands to clear the lands that have haunted or lost souls. And oh my goodness. And that, I think you come in with something in your astrology chart. Probably got Scorpio, right? Do you have a lot of Scorpio in you?
No, I've got an odd one. You know, you and I are gonna work. So I'm gonna book a session with you. It's a little
Yeah, so this is wonderful, but yeah, I mean, the reason why I said Scorpio is because they usually go under, right, down under. They get they go so deep and stuff like that. Not all of them do, but I have found more of them that are like that in my travels. But anyways, thank you so much. It was a pleasure, Janie. Thank you, and I think Janie's coming back on the 15th with Pamela. We're going to talk more energy for you guys. It seems like I'm winding down the year with a lot of energy conversations. And don't forget, tomorrow, you guys, Buck is here. And no, I'm sorry, Buck is not here tomorrow. But I have my last game show of the year, and that's going to be fun. I've got 2 mystery guests that are going to come in and ask the questions. I think Hula Hoop is actually going to be on it tomorrow, if I'm not wrong on that one, and somebody else that I have never met yet. But the game shows are a lot of fun. So basically everything that we teach them, we're asking them to regurgitate back to us with an answer. And thank you so much. And Laura, I think that maybe one day in the near future, we'll have you do a game show. Everything that you're teaching everybody out there. It'll be a lot of fun. Blessings to both of you ladies. Thank you so much.
Thank you both.
Bye now.
Bye.
And now we turn the page.